What's up, guys? You guys are all excited that you got your new numeric shifter in, and so today we're going to be doing the install for the shifter. It's going to be for the G body, for the 901, 915, and 930 transmissions. So if you have that G50 transmission in your 87 to 89 models, this doesn't work for you. But this is our newest shifter, so we're going to be doing install, unboxing, showing you how to put the lever together, show you how to adjust the coupler, show you how to adjust the reverse lockout for the reverse lockout models, and then also the shift coupler that comes with the package, and then we also offer new bushings with the shifter. So let's jump straight ahead to the install so that we can get it going. Alright, so right out of the package, and so you have the shift lever. It's obviously all going to be wrapped up. The shift housing, coupler, and then also an assembly for the shift lever. So what you do is just undo this one to start the assembly off. What you're going to do, you're going to need a size 8mm on a ratchet. You could use a wrench, but ratchet's better. And then we are using a 5mm Allen key. So this is what you're going to do is I feed it from underneath. I go all the way over. So I go past it, right, and then lay it off to the side like that. So go over, past it. Now I'm gonna put the spacers inside these little holes here, right? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna push this lever right in between it, and then now push down. So it's gonna be a nice little tight squeeze in here. It just slides right in like that. And so now I'm gonna be trying to match up this hole with here without going. If I go too far, the spacers are going to pop into this pocket. If I go to the sides, these spacers will pop out to the sides. So I try to keep it right there in the middle. And now I have the hole lined up, right? And so now, well, it's not difficult, but it's just tedious. This hole, you see, this piece interferes, so you have to go here, just start it off, and then I'm going to use the shift lever to move it to the side. And then try to wiggle that around until I get inside the hole. You could use the other side to see it, to make sure you're getting it or not, to line it up. Oh, just like that. See, I just messed it up. So what you do is just pull it back out like this, pop the spacers back in, and just retry. Check it from the other side. Once you get it in started, it just will slide in. If anything, you can knock on it a little bit here. Could just push on it, or there you go. So it's a little tedious, but once you get it, it goes. And then you're just gonna go on this side and thread that in. And tighten as much as you can, and then we're going to put a size 8 on it. Allen key on the other side. We're going to tighten this down. You can use some thread locker there if you want, because you're not going to be taking it back out. So we like to use red Loctite, but so I'm holding it on the other side with the Allen key, and then torquing it down here. There you go. And you want to feel it. It's nice and baby butt smooth. There it is. And so now that we have the shift levers assembled, now we're going to move on to the car and disassemble the stock one, and then we're going to put this one right in. All right, so now we're at the car. We're ready for the uninstall and the install. So the tools you're gonna need for this job is gonna be a metric Allen key set. So it's gonna be a 4mm, 5mm, and 6mm Allen key set. And so we got that one. And then we're gonna also use a 13 and a 13. You can use on whatever you want. I got a wrench and a ratchet setup, so they're both size 13. And then I'm using a size 2 Phillips, number 2 Phillips drive, and it fits the screws very well, so for the disassembly. So very simple. We got our setup here with the coupler and the shifter already ready. So just some common tools. If you don't have those, I'm sure you can find them anywhere local. And so let's jump into this install. All right, so we're in a 1973 911 Targa. So this is the one with a 915 transmission, and so your center console may vary, and if you have a center console delete, then you can skip this process, but we're going to show you how to take off the center console. I'm mainly going to be using Phillips. So we start off, there's 2 screws here, 1, 2, and then on the same exact height on the other side also. So we're going to start off by undoing these. And it's going to be the same exact on the other side. Alright, so now this black plastic piece comes off. I just set it to the side like that. If you can't get it all the way off, you can just push it back. You don't have to take it all the way off. You just got to access the screw right here. And then there's one on the other side, same exact spot. Alright, so once those 2 front screws are removed, there's one more that's holding the center console. I also do like using a flashlight for this install, because some of these spots are a little darker. I don't know how well your lighting is. I'm gonna pull up the e-brake, and so it's actually hidden underneath the carpet right here. So if you can kind of see it, right here. And so that's the last one. All right, so that's the last screw. I also like to remove your shift knob and also the shift boot. So stock shift knobs, they just have a little knurled little insert in there, and then so I get that out of the way, and then also to get the boot, kind of just got to wiggle it out. First the center console, and then kind of conforms around the shifter, so you should kind of just wiggle it around, and it should slide right off. All right, and so now to remove the center console, just pull it forward and just work with it. You could also remove the electronics here by unhooking it here if you really want to completely remove it, but I just have it set aside to the passenger seat as I do the rest of this install. So I just wiggle around the e-brake, so I get out of the e-brake, get it through here. And so this is what I do. I just set mine aside. As you can see, you can unhook these electronics, and that way you can remove this entirely, and you can be able to get the carpet more higher. But for me, if you're trying to do minimal invasive surgery, then that's the way I do it. And so now we're going to do the install for the shift mechanism. And so this is when you're going to use the size 5mm and 6mm. So I use the flashlight again, kind of set it up somewhere so that it stays from the side angle like this, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this carpet. So you got to remove this carpet a little bit. You don't want to peel too much of that tape off though, just enough right here. Shout out to our pedals, look how great they look. And then you're going to remove this center, and so I'm going to wiggle it around just over this shift boot right here, around the e-brake, and so that's enough room for me to work here and to remove those screws. And so as you can see it here, so we're going to remove here, that is 2 5mm on the top, 1 6mm on the bottom, and then there's 2 more using the 6mm Allen key. So they have washers on them, so don't lose the washers on there. We're going to be reusing these hardware, so I'm just going to unscrew those right now.
Alright, so now after we have the 5 screws removed that's holding it down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this up. You can kind of hear, so what happens is that cup bushing is inside the rod, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull upward first, and then now I'm going to get it, so slide it out. And so this is the cup I was talking about that you have to remove from the rod first, and so you could just see the stock one it's running on just straight bare metal on metal for the pivot point, just super rough. You can feel this and bounces around everywhere, and so we're just going to remove this and just look at the looks of that. And so we're just going to get rid of that, and let's get a more precise shifter in here. Alright, so before we go into installing our shifter, I want to show the mechanism for the reverse lockout. And so I have one removed outside of a shifter so that we can get a better look at it. And so this is for the 901 and 915 transmissions. If you have a 930, then don't worry about it, you can skip this part. So what it does is it takes 2 keys. It takes a 2mm Allen key, which I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, and then also a 7mm wrench. So there's a jam nut here, so we ship it where usually where we found is the best spot, but it's you have to dial it into every single car so that you don't have it reverse, so you don't have so it doesn't scratch reverse. And so how you adjust it is you take the 7mm, loosen the nut. Once it's loose, you can use the 2mm Allen key to screw it in or out. So if you're still scratching, then screw it in more. And so screw it in a couple, like 1 or 2 turns. You don't want to go too much, and so you can see it's stopping earlier. But what happens is that if you screw in too much, now this guy's gonna go, you don't want it so that it goes here and it's not gonna be able to, you won't be able to get into neutral. It's just gonna keep you in gear. So you don't want to screw in too much, but then you don't want to go too little, where here, as you can see here, you don't want to go too little because then you're going to scratch reverse. So you got to find that perfect balance between not scratching reverse and to be able to knock it into neutral. And so that's up to you. And so if you don't like it at all, and you're conscious of your shifting and you confident that you can go from 5th to 4th, no problem. With our 2.5mm spring option, it really is, it just got that spring guides you straight into 4th out of 5th, or even if from 1st into 2nd for the 901s. So it really, this is just so that you don't knock it into the gear, so it definitely stops you. And so it's fully automatic. So what happens is if you want to go into reverse, you have to go from neutral, and so but it will prevent you from 5th gear, so it'll stop you there. So this is the way you adjust it, 2mm. So you can put it in your car and see to take it for a spin before you adjust it. You can just run with our option, but every single one should be tailored to your car. So that's going to be the reverse lockout adjustability. Then after you get it dialed in, here's a 7mm, and you can also do this all with the shifter. You don't have to remove this off of your shifter. So as you can see here, that 2mm fits right inside here. We designed it so you can fit it inside here. See there? That's why I also recommend the Allen keys with the ball ends on the ends, because see, you can go inside here, and then to adjust it, what you do is it's easier from below. But if you already have it installed in your vehicle, then what I would do is I wouldn't tighten this one down, the jam nut, until you got it good with the Allen key, and then just tighten it down from here. If you have a longer key, if you have a longer wrench, you can reach from up top if you already have installed your car, because you don't want to take it off these 5 screws every time you want to adjust it. So what you do is just go like this, and then you can tighten that down. If not, you can get a little longer key, or you might be able to even fit a socket here at an angle. So that's up to you how you do it, but it's fully adjustable there, so that it's tailored to every single car, and so it's not just one size fits all. But also how you install it also affects that. So if you install the shifter, you can see here, so if you install a shifter with the shift coupler where this piece is all the way past this reverse lockout, obviously your reverse lockout's not going to work. You have to have it so it's centered. So right here where it's centered, so whenever you're doing the shift coupler, we'll get into it, you don't want to have it so it's too far this way or too far this way, because then if it's too far down, whenever you shift it into gear, it's not gonna be able to let you it's not gonna let you snap back into neutral. If you go too far up, then the reverse lockout's just not gonna work. So you're gonna really want to get that dialed in with the shift coupler for the depth of this going up and down, which I'll explain more in depth coming up whenever the shift coupler comes to it. But just for the install for this, we have the adjustability here with the reverse lockout, and then we're gonna have it dialed in with the shift coupler for how far this lever goes forward and back. All right, so now that we have the shifter uninstalled, and now we're gonna be removing the stock this is the shift rod here, and so what we wanted to do is make sure that there's no play. So with our shift package, we made sure to include the shift coupler and this bushing, and also the bushing for the shift lever. So this bushing just gets you a brand new bushing because it wears out, and then you get that excess play side to side. So with our new bushings and our new shifter and shift coupler, you're gonna have that zero play and just that precision shifting. And so I like to use a flashlight, get it from up top, and then I'm gonna use this size 4mm. And so what it is on the shift rod, I move it over to the side. It is still in third gear. And so what I do is move it to the side, and then on the side here, it's a 4mm. Oops, sorry. 4mm Allen key. Just kind of once you get it in there. Alright. Alright, so once you get this screw off, we're gonna just push this, slide that right out, and then now we're just gonna take this support rod, we're gonna slide it out. And so this one we would swap the bushing, but what I like to do is use a flathead here. So get your flathead in here, or even sometimes like a vice grip if you can get around here, and maybe get some pliers in here or a flathead, pry it out, and then to pop the new one in, you just put it over like this, and then I like to vice grip it just to get it. I just put this in a vice, it'll be just this edge, push it, and it'll push in. Once you get it already started, then the last of it you can push in. That's my advice, is use a vice grip, but use a flathead to remove it, use a vice grip to push it back in. So how you do is up to you. This one already has it, so I'm gonna install it right back on. And so to install it, I slide it right back over, put that rod end back, and then once I do that, put that Allen key and that screw right back on. So I'm just gonna reverse that process. You're gonna want to switch these bushings just so that it has less play here, side to side and up and down. So there it is, see, and that's where it goes from the side. So I'm gonna thread that back in just like that. Alright guys, so before we install this on, what we're going to do is we're going to aim for we're going to get this shift bushing cup inside the ball, and then as you're doing that, you're going to want to line up the front, line up the back hole. But before that even happens, you want to make sure that you're going through this hole, because otherwise if you do it afterwards, you won't be able to get it done. So very detailed, but I keep it up like this, so put it through the hole, but so that the shift lever goes through, because if you try to do it afterwards, you won't be able to. You're gonna have it dialed in, and then you're gonna realize you can't put the carpet back on. So you're gonna wanna make sure you do this, but see how I put it through the hole, and now I'm aiming for the cup. And so we're gonna do the rest of the video without the carpet. So we're actually gonna remove the carpet right now out of the way, just so you guys can see and follow along much better. So, but just because we have our carpet off to the side, make sure you guys have your carpet through here, and so that way you can do the rest of your install. So we're gonna continue without this carpet in the way, but make sure you guys do not forget that step. Alright, so now I got it all tight. I put that screw back in, the bushing swap is done, and so now I'm ready to install our shifter in there. And so what I would do is, you see here there's no grease. We didn't want to ship it with grease on the outside so that you wouldn't get dirty or anything. We already greased the inside of the ball so that it goes side to side like that, just nice and smooth. So I would add a little bit of thin layer of grease here on the outside wall. Nothing crazy, but just get a thin coat here. That would definitely help out the bushings. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop in the bushing first, and then also I want to make sure that these holes, this back hole right here is lined up. So I want to make sure this hole is lined up right now before I even put ours on. I'm gonna snap this in and then make sure that this hole's lined up, and I'm gonna try to get this screw in first. this rear screw. So what I'm gonna do is first pop that in. Alright, so I popped that in, slid that into the bushing first, and now I line up this back hole. So if this back hole is not lined up, then you're gonna have to move this around, you can see. Or sometimes I hook it with like an Allen key and kind of line it up like this, you see. And so line up that. If not, then you can wiggle this around, move it around, and so that you get that lined up. Once you get that lined up, I'm gonna hand tighten this one down. Reusing the hardware. This with the washer. Make sure you have a washer. If not, buy one. And so just gonna hand tighten this one down because this one locates these two right here, and that controls the shift rod where it goes left to right. So as you can see, ours isn't like the stock one. We have a little bit of adjustability here. So I'm gonna run it like stock, so it's gonna be right in the middle. But if your car is different or it doesn't fit right, so we have a little bit of adjustability here for the shift rod to go left and right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hand tighten first. Alright, so I hand tighten it, and if it's not going, it's because it's not lined up. So use the shift lever. You can see that you can move around that support right now. So what it does is that our shifter self-centers it. So before I touch the shift coupler in the back, first do the shift housing, the shift lever, before you do the shift coupler. Because see, this will center it just where it needs to be, just like it was for stock. And if it was already running well, then you'll have to do less adjustability because you're running it. So see, our lever already shifts. See, you can move this left here. Let me get the top ones hand tightened. So I'm gonna do the top two. I'm not tightening anything down yet. So there's one here, and then one more on the other side. And so what I'm gonna do is, as you can see over here, see, you can move around. Right now I'm in gear, but you can move around. See here? It has room to go left and to go right. And so just in case yours is different or something, and yours is running more left stock or more right stock, that shift rod housing, that's why we have that adjustability here. So right now I'm not going to touch it. Right now this is running just how it was before. I didn't touch the shift coupler and it was running well. So I like where it's at right now. So I'm going to tighten these down, tighten this down, and then we're going to get to the shift coupler. Alright, so after we got those 5 bolts tightened down, we still have that shift coupler, so you can see that it's a ton of play. Has side-to-side play too, so we're going to get rid of that shift coupler right now, so we're going to replace it. So before I put the center console back and everything, just in case I need to adjust something up here, I'm just going to leave it before I actually finalize it. So let's move to the shift coupler out back. All we're going to need is the Phillips to remove the housing for the shift coupler, and then we're going to need those 2 size 13s. I like to move the driver's seat forward, move this back seat so that it's folded upward so I can have as much room as possible here to work. Also move my seat forward. So just nice little flashlight mount right there underneath the cushion. So what you do is remove the carpet. So you want to be able to expose, if yours is glued or taped to the floor, you don't want to pull off too much, but just enough to expose these 4 screws. These are all just Phillips, so it's just nice, quick, and easy to get access to that shift coupler. Alright, so now we're just going to remove the cover. Set that off to the side. And so this is the shift coupler right here. It's mounted on, so this is the shift rod that goes to the shifter. 13 on each side, and then here we have a size, I believe it was size 5 Allen key, so we're going to undo this and then undo those, get the shift coupler out of there, and then put ours in there. You can see in the stock one, look at all this play. It's forward and back. You can see this, like, see if I hold this still, you can just see that bouncing around side to side. It's all over the place. So we're going to get rid of that and start. Alright, so ours mounts just the same way as theirs, as the stock one. You can see that play that I was talking about, side to side, forward and back. That gets translated straight to the lever compared to ours. No play going forward and back, only just up and down just for the shift rod to go to the shift lever, but side to side, no play, forward and back, no play. So that you're switching straight into here. You can see these are bushings. You have to replace those all the time here. Maintenance free bearings. Install once and never have to swap it, because whenever you reinstall and put new bushings in here, you have to do this process again, and so we don't want to keep readjusting this shift coupler. Alright, so what I do is first is we reuse that hardware to lock in to the transmission and the shift coupler, and then we're gonna have our 13 and 13 ready for adjustments. So usually I don't get it in the first try, but after a couple you'll get it. So what this coupler does is it get it first mounted on transmission. So I'm gonna get this mounted on transmission end first. I'm actually crank it down, because this we're not gonna be adjusting. Alright, so what we're gonna be doing those with this 13 and 13. So what happens is that, see, you can go through all the gears. So if I lock it down while it's over here all the way to the side, and if I lock it down in the middle plane, because right now the shifter is set up in the neutral, dead center, and so if I lock it down in almost in the right plane, so where fifth and reverse is, then whenever I'm gonna be shifting forward, it's gonna actually be fifth instead of third. And so what we want to do is make sure that, see, this way and then forward, that's fifth, back is reverse, all the way this way, forward first, back is second. So we need to get inside third, because right now that's where ours is about right here. So this is all the way that way, this is all the way that way. So what I like to do is, if you knocked your shift lever before you removed your stock one into third, then yours is going to be already in third. So then you can just tighten this down. But if you didn't knock into third, I try to get it with my hand. So this is right here fifth, this is first, so right in the middle. I try to knock this into gear with my hand. All right, now I'm in third gear. Oh, didn't go in. So I kind of got it. There you go. So that's about third. If you can't shift with your hand, then knock it into any of the gears, like first or something. Tighten down the 13 and 13. Go on your shift lever and then move it over. If you say you knocked it into first, straight up it's gonna be first, but you don't want that. You want that to be third. So go to where fifth would have been, put it in gear, and that's probably gonna be third. And then undo this and then restart. So I was able to push with my hand into third gear, about what I assume is third gear, because I moved it all the way over there, it was fifth. I moved it all the way over here, it was first. So I did right in between, and that's third gear. So what I'm gonna do is now mount it onto the transmission rod. So it's in third gear right now. So now I'm gonna go to the shift lever and I'm gonna take a look at it. Flashlight. So you can see here. So now where would third be? So dead center, I look at it, dead center would be here. So this is in neutral. So right now if I tighten it down, right now the transmission's in third, but my shift lever is in neutral. You don't want that. You want to line up the transmission to your shift lever. So right now, you can tell by what is dead center by looking at your reverse lockout. If you have a reverse lockout, if not, then you have to eye it for what is dead center. And then from dead center, I'm gonna go a little bit forward. So this is just my first attempt for the adjustment. So it usually takes me 2 or 3 tries. So I'm just gonna get a good ballpark. So this is neutral. So I'm gonna go with third is right about there. So now that once I get third, where I think is third on the shift lever, now I'm gonna go to the transmission side and tighten down those 2 13s. All right, so now I'm not touching anything. I wanna lock this down, but I don't wanna move this rod forward or back, because then that'll knock me from third on the shift lever to neutral. So what I wanna do is while I'm cranking this down, I gotta be aware not to move it forward or back. So I'm gonna try my best to tighten this down without moving it forward or back. If I can get this down. This thing's clicking all the way. So tighten this down. Some people have asked us why didn't we make a clamp. It's because the OEM one, it's a clamp, it's a clamp. There's no performance that can be upgraded with this, so just stuck with the stock one. So now I got it tightened down. Now I'm gonna go to the shift lever and switch through the gears and give it a try. All right, so we're adjusting that coupler. I like to put the shift knob on because I'm gonna be switching through gears. This is not comfortable on your hand at all to switch through gears. There you go, now my hand's gonna feel much more comfortable. So I'm gonna run through the gears and run the diagnostics and see how well I adjusted it off the first one. I can't get into third right now, so I know I need to adjust it. So, can't get into third. Fourth feels good. Fifth, I can't get into. Reverse, I can. So third and fifth, so I need to adjust it the side to side so that I can get those gears. First, second feels good. Fourth, yes. Third, no. Fifth, no. Reverse, yes. All right. So the first thing I can check though is the forward and back to see if my forward and back is perfect. So to check that, I look here at the reverse lockout, and so I match up the reverse lockout to the shift lever, and so you can take a look at it. So come more this angle, right down here. There you go. So you can see the shift lever. See if the shift lever is hitting that reverse lockout just like that, then you know you're good on the forward and back. If you're hitting it too far backward that way, then whenever you put it in fifth, it won't snap back. And then if you put it too much this way, then whenever you put it in reverse, it won't snap back. So you want to make sure that that reverse lockout, to be able to know that you're dead center, is compare it to that reverse lockout. Is probably the easiest way to line it up. And so if you see that it's just right there, hitting right there so that it snaps, if you're too far back, then you'll see that it's hitting way further back. If you're too far forward, then it won't even click this, and so you won't even hit the reverse lockout at all. So this is a good way to gauge your forward and back when they're on your shift coupler. So the shift coupler adjusts the forward, back, and the side to side. So right now I have the forward and back dialed in. Now I just need to twist it side to side a little bit. So probably a little bit left or right, I'm gonna see right now, so that I can get in third and fifth smoothly. So I'm gonna do one more adjustment to see that. All right, so if you already got yours dialed in, you can skip this part, but what I'm doing is now I'm adjusting it. I got my forward and back adjusted, so I already got that dialed in. I don't wanna move this guy forward or back because then that'll mess with that. I already got that dialed in. What I need to do is just move it left or right, and so I'm gonna try right first, and then if not, I'm gonna try left. It's more of a trial and error process until you get it really feeling good. If you get yours dialed in earlier, then that's better, but this is kind of the tease process, but if you get this dialed in right the first time, then you don't have to worry about it, and you just do it once. So let's just do it right. All right guys, so as you can see, me switching through gears, I got it dialed in. So got first, second, got third, fourth, and then going to fifth. So everything's working right, but what's happening now is that it's all switching, but because it's just a little bit off, now this reverse lockout won't engage. Because what happens is that, see, it may feel smooth and everything may feel right, but it doesn't mean you're done with your adjustment just yet, because what happens is that my forward and aft is actually off. As you can look over here at this reverse lockout, top, so you can see with the reverse lockout, whenever I put it in fifth, see how it doesn't snap back? That means I'm too far. That means I'm too far forward. The bottom of my shift lever is too far forward. So actually I have to undo that clamp over there and then move it actually towards the rear of the car so that I can move this shift rod more back. Because look, see, when I put it in fifth, you see how it's not snapping back into center, that reverse lockout? And so that's one diagnostic of showing that I'm not just done just yet. So as you can see, when I put it into fifth, it doesn't snap back. So I'm actually too far, the bottom of my shift lever is too far forward. So I'm gonna adjust that right now. All right, so now that we got it dialed in, you can feel that first, second, third, fourth, and then go into reverse, or fifth, and try to shift into reverse. It's locked out. Trying. If you don't like it catching so early or something, and or if you want it to go further out, that's when you can adjust that reverse lockout. It's going to be over here on that other end over here. So as you can see, the reverse lockout here. So what you would do is use the Allen key from over here where my finger's at. So you'd use the Allen key and a 7mm right here. So it's not the best. It's a tight area there, but to get it locked in, that's what you need to do. So if you want it to go further down, so right here, you can make it so it goes lower. You can make it so it stops higher. So that's all just adjustable right there with that screw, and then you can control and prevent it from scratching. and so that's all up to you. So we got it dialed in. It feels great going through all the gears, nice and smooth, and that precision. You see that, no play. The only play right now right here is through the transmission. This isn't through our shifter or the shift coupler. It's just what's inside the transmission, so you can feel that. You can just see the gears switching through and feel great. If you don't like the short throws, again, we got that shift knob coming out in a couple weeks, and so it's just going to be really nice. Personally, I can't stand this little shift knob. It's just too small for my hand. Really can't get anything on there. You can only get like 2 fingers on there. I like to have a little bit of a bigger ball. I know those aftermarket wood ones are really nice too, but there's our install video. So to reverse it, to put the center console back on, it's gonna be the same process, just reversed. I'm gonna put the cover over the shift coupler also, so make sure everything's tight on the clamp. Make sure the lock and screw is tight. And so after I get it really dialed in, you can even take a drive with it right now. So before putting it on the center console, take a drive for it, see how you like it. And then if you need any more adjustability, there's also those 2 screws over here. So if you really can't get it dialed in that way, the way we were just doing it with the shift coupler, try to remove these 2 screws that move the shift rod, move it more to the right, move it more to the left, and so you can adjust that shift rod, really try to get it dialed in. And so take it for a drive, see how you like it, go until you get it, till you get the feel that you're looking for. Test out the reverse lockout, test it all out before you put it all together. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you have any questions, make sure to reach out to us, and we're excited to get these out to you.